who we're going to focus on and who we're going to build this experience out for. And first comes for us, the tastemaker, because we feel like there's this gap right now.
So it sounds like what you guys are really doing is if you talk about the role of an AR at a music label, and if they previously, and well, still to date, are being charged with going out and scouting out the new talent, right?
Yep.
It sounds like what you've really done here is democratize the role of AR and basically empower anybody that's a passionate person in terms of music to be an AR for themselves. So what kind of an incentive system is out there? Because, if you're working as an AR for the label, you're getting paid financially from the label
for
to
sure.
do that work. What is the incentive for a tastemaker to join? And other than the pride of being being known amongst their circle of friends or within the community as, oh, that's the tastemaker right there. What is what is the incentive process like for these tastemakers?
For sure, yeah. Before I roll into the incentives, just another part about the A&R process, right? Another thing I noticed while I was at the label is that A&Rs just get asked to do too much these days, right? It's like you have to scout an artist, right? You have to make this decision. Are we going to invest millions of dollars in this artist, right? And then you have to work with them on creating albums, their brand, and so on and so forth. And an A&R just doesn't have one artist signed to them, right? They have multiple artists on the roster that they're assigned to. And, with the consolidation of the music industry, rosters get consolidated. And now A&Rs could be responsible for 10 to 20 artists, and it's just unmanageable, right?
Yeah.
So what I see is not only can this be a democratization of the scouting process, but it's almost like a tool that can be used also for A&Rs, where the scouting process has become too overwhelming, more music been made than ever before. So while, the A&R role at a label is complex, this is like one aspect of it that we're opening up, and you're right, democratizing to the passionate music fan. Now, to move into why the passionate music fan would do that, core base reason is they just love to find new music and tell other people about it. I'm sure you remember when you were in middle school, in high school, in college, right, where you just found yourself losing hours, right, just diving through whatever you could find, and just listening and forming an opinion and telling your friends. So that was one of the most
and you're preaching to the choir with that, because I was exactly that person, especially in college, where I served as the music director for the campus radio station at the college I was at University of Notre Dame. And I loved being the guy that everybody knew to go to for, check out this band. I remember at the time it was this band that was breaking through called Chibo Mato. This was years ago, and they were huge in the college scene, and everybody was like, who are these people? And I'm like, no, you got to check these guys out, and they totally rocked. And
so you can embody that person.
Yeah, it was. I totally get the pride of that, and being that person, and it almost seems though when I look at your app, it's kind of like a game. There's a gamification element also going on here, right?
Mm-hmm. So, another quick way that we could describe it to, tastemakers that already understand the tastemaking concept, it's like you have fantasy sports for huge music or for huge sports fans. And then you have fantasy A&R, right, for huge music fans, because it's something that they already do.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that actually captures it. And, it's gamified sort of. You can compete with friends, and, you can, the second biggest thing is that it collects everything, right? So your Facebook feeds, your Twitter feeds, your Instagram feeds, right, your YouTube channel, your Spotify playlists, they're all cluttered, right? And they're playing in a field where there's just so much noise, right? So what we wanted to do is figure out, one, exactly what do tastemakers value, right? So instead of making it song-based, right, we chose to make it around artists, right? Because tastemakers really believe in artists. They're not really super tied to, they may like a song from some random artist, right? But what they really invest in is the career of the artist and following them versus just hopping song to song. That's more of a lean back listening experience. So that was one thing that we did. The entire process of developing Phantom was about, look, this behavior already exists. Like, people already love to do this. The problem is it's purely analog right now. It only happens right within the friends that you talk to, right? Or even when you worked at the radio station, right? It was there for a moment when you maybe debuted it on your show or whatnot, right? But there was no way of looking up Nate and seeing all of the things that he had gone on to find and what they ended up doing, right? So, the entire experience is more built about capturing this tastemaker experience that already exists, for that, for whatever reason, it's built into yours and my DNA to just love to do this.
Yeah.
And then from there, right, the extra, so we think of it as like an extra incentive, right, is to be able to create a marketplace around this, a real professional opportunities for these tastemakers to tap into. So again, pre the internet, you had to have a position at a institution, right, whether it be a label, a radio station, or any other vehicle in order to influence the career of an artist. But now we've seen it again get pushed down to the fan level. So what we're doing is saying, look, if we're starting on budget opportunities because on the high end of things, if you want a major label artist, you know where to go and you have to pay that price point or whatnot, right? But there's again another market gap that we see in the professional sector and specifically in the sync licensing market. So sync it stands for synchronized licensing. So it's synchronized music to a visual, right? So think film, TV, advertisements, and video games, right? That music that plays as you're watching the visual. So in that market, we find that, if you know that you have Beyonce money and you want to sign her up for a Pepsi campaign for the Super Bowl, great.
Who's got that
right?
money,
Like,
though?
you know exactly where to go. Exactly. Even for Pepsi, right? There's multiple budgets within that vertical that don't have Beyonce. Like that's a very, very unique opportunity in terms of percentage of the total market.
Yeah.
And then on the super bottom end, right, you have all of these great tools coming out but it's for stock music, right? It's for pre-cleared music that you can just throw in there. I'm sure that you can use it for your podcast. It's something easy that you need music. It's getting better and better.
Yeah, it's like all the Creative Commons stuff. If you go to CC Mixter, for instance, you can pull some stuff down from that. And I use that actually in some of my earliest shows before I started featuring unique bands. I was pulling some tunes from exactly those places that you're talking about, but it was a lot of digging.
Exactly.
Man, it was a pain.
Exactly. So for the client experience, right, you're here to put on a show, right? You're here to, have interviews, to have interesting conversation, right? You're not here to go search keywords, find a piece of music that might fit that particular vibe, right? And lose days where you could be having these really interesting conversations.
Absolutely.
Poured into the nitty gritty, right? So for us, what we're saying is, look, these tastemakers love doing that stuff already, right? So why don't you, as a client, right, tap us to help you find that music, right? You still get the creative control because what we do is we have tastemakers submit music and put together this sort of curated selection for you to choose from. So it's honestly taking all of the work from like searching randomly and putting that in the hands of experts in whatever genre you're asking for, right? So so in this example, the way that it work would be like you and I would jump on the phone real quick, or you fill out a quick form. Tell me in 5 minutes, right, what you're looking for. We're looking for something energetic to get the show going. It's going to be an intro song, X, Y, and Z, right? And you can also choose to give me a budget, right? Because this is the biggest thing is, finding music, but also music that's going to fit the budget of your production, right? We take all that info and
so
we
that,
decide.
that production, though, so what you're saying is, so my background is in television, right? And so in the production of television, there's the need to have, the underlying rights for music and because music really can set the whole stage for a particular scene in a show or in a movie or in a commercial. And the same thing for advertising agencies and creative agencies that are producing the commercials that we see on TV or even the pre-roll commercials that we see on YouTube. All of those things are using music. And so what you're offering is a nice one-stop shop for the producers of those, whether it's video content or audio commercials or whatever it is. They would come to you with kind of a request, and this would save them from having to dig through all of those libraries of stuff. Is the efficiency that you're bringing here?
That's one. And then two is the other efficiency is, again, having worked in music, I just think there's more great music being made than ever before. But the number of spots that exist for that music to live or to get paid for or whatnot has almost stayed the same, right?
Yeah.
So what we want to do is expand the market, right? And say, look, prior where you might have to just resort to stock music, even though you wanted to pay for something more and you wanted a real artist with a real following, right? What we're saying is we want to ease that process so that, I think that there's a untapped market of producers that understand this value that music has for setting the scene, right? Even for, an indie film or whatnot, something not as big as HBO, right? Like there is a huge implication for music in setting the tone, but, right, you're a visual person. You're directing the film, or you're producing the film, right? Or you're writing the script, right? You're not an expert in music, right? So to ease the process, let's put all of the music expertise into the hands of these passionate music fans that, know everything about a particular scene. Honestly, I think know more sometimes than people that work in the industry, just because this is their life, right? They're consumed by it. They're around it all the time. Whereas, when you professionally work in music, you have a dedicated genre you're working in, but still it's so vast. It's really hard, right? So what we've done is said, like, look, these tastemakers are almost mayors or governors of a particular niche of music, right? So why would you not use them to offer up these suggestions? But at the same time, right, you get to remain in creative control. You may not know where to find the music, but you know exactly what you're looking for. Nobody knows better than you what kind of music you want to set the visual, right? Because this is your vision as the overall creator, right? So it's bringing those two worlds together where you may not have the expertise to source it, so we'll take that over and create almost like an Amazon checkout for that, right?
Yeah.
And then for you get to choose from the highest rated, right, products, that you can use for your particular production, and you can see what it's going to cost you and see, be able to make a sound judgment. Whereas right now, a lot of that process is opaque. It gets done through phone calls and emails, and it's, a long process, honestly. So what we want to do is make it transparent, marketplace level, especially for up and coming artists, right? At the top level, where you are honestly not even really using music for the song, but the brand of the artist. That's what you're paying for, at the Beyonce, Pepsi level, right? It's not for a particular song. It's for Beyonce, right? Because she's created that brand for herself. So yeah, we're not even trying to tap into there, because there will always be a need to work with people to manage the brand, right? And on the bottom end, there will always be stock music for quick and easy use. But in this middle class, right? Think about all the new opportunities we have with Netflix originals, right? Where we have like smaller shorts and TV really booming, and all of these extra cables networks and digital native stations where they only exist online, right? There's so much more inventory that's going to need music licensed. And everybody sees the video boom, but I don't think that anybody seriously thought through the musical implications for all of those extra spots that can now be placed.
That's awesome. So it sounds like Phantom, which our audience can find at phantom.fm, or if they just search for Phantom on the various app stores. It sounds like there's kind of three main users here, or three main stakeholders. One being the tastemakers themselves, the people that are passionate about music, and you give them a fun environment in which they can really explore the music and get credit for being that uber tastemaker of music. The second here is producers, like television producers or creative producers. You're providing a one-stop shop for them to go easily find the best music, and you're leveraging those tastemakers to bring that best music to them.
Correct.
And then the third stakeholder here is the artists themselves. And so how I understand Phantom as an interface to the tastemaker. They go sign up, create an account, and start tastemaking. I guess that's a verb.
Or we can make it one now.
That's right. We're gonna go taste make now, and then there's the interface for the producers of commercials that need to go search for music. What is the involvement of the musical artist themselves?
So that's a good question. So as a startup, we would love to build out all of these things at once. But
I know. And I see your board behind you. You got your whiteboard with your Post-it notes. I love that. That's total startup atmosphere.
One day this will upgrade to a whiteboard, but for right now it's a wall with stickies on it, right?
It looks like a whiteboard to me.
Yeah, I mean, one day we'll get there, but so as a startup, we have a limited set of resources. So what we've tried to think through as best as we can is like what feeds what, right? So right now there's plenty of places for artists to put up their music, and actually all the music on Phantom plugs through public APIs, right? There's this amazing ecosystem where, think about like whenever you go to a blog and you see an embedded YouTube link, right? That's plugging into YouTube's API, right? So you can spread the word about a piece of music, and it's for promotional use only, right? It's not like a subscription service where you're consuming and paying to have all of that access, right? So for us, we see Fandom as just a place for tastemakers to collect these artists, but then also get like a little sample of their music, right? So that's what we've built out initially. Eventually, what we want to do is just be able to have artists claim their accounts and manage them themselves, right? So another unique thing about Fandom is we don't pull from a public library and just, bring in all these artists. What we say is, look, this entire artist library is curated by our tastemakers. So you know that any artist on here is, supported and co-signed by someone else, right? So
Right,
it's not
right.
this random, search process. It's all of these all of these artists have been brought in by the tastemakers in this community. From there, in the next year or two, we really want to build out the artist experience where you can sign in on the dashboard,